he's going to break Jim Kelly's records, as Jim Kelly said. As long as he's here and he's healthy, that's going to happen simply because of how much they throw the ball, how good he's become at throwing the ball downfield, making, good decisions, not turning the football over, and leading his team towards victory, as we all saw. Obviously, they won the division last year. But I think the challenge for Josh Allen, as it pertains to being the GOAT in this conversation in Buffalo.
Got to win a little bit.
He's got to win, and he's got to win big, right? Jim Kelly, as we all know, went to 4 straight Super Bowls. They did not win one of those, but they were the Patriots of the time. Like, not that they had the longevity, but they were without question the best team in the AFC. And that's the starting point that Josh Allen has to hit if he wants to be the GOAT for the Buffalo Bills. You got to, at least for some extended period of time, be the best team and one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. And that's going to be hard for him because
who else is there, which we'll get to, obviously, as part of the conversation.
Mahomes, etc.
But I hear you. I really, truly hear you. But if he has superior numbers, which he will.
I can't put that in the equation.
Okay.
I know where you're going.
I got you.
I can't,
But does he have to be, what if he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the conference?
To me, it's got to be top 1 or 2, right? Because
splitting hairs, though.
It's not, because at the end of the day, you can go back and say, well, Jim Kelly never lost an AFC championship game, right? Jim Kelly was consistently in the AFC championship game. Yeah, he didn't win a Super Bowl. Okay, but whatever. We're not talking about Super Bowl. We're not trying to compare him to Tom Brady. We're trying to compare him to Josh Allen.
All right, fair enough.
So if Josh Allen doesn't become that, there will always be that argument and debate about whether or not he actually has surpassed.
Fair enough. I'll relent on that.
Jim Kelly.
Here's a quick little side stat before we get to the other quarterback. So last year, Josh Allen threw the ball 572 times. Jim Kelly never threw more than 500 once.
Wow.
That's an acknowledgement of how these stats are distorted. Same for guys like Phil Simms, et cetera. Got even Boomer Esiason, our buddy down the hall, who was great. Boomer was a terrific player. I mean, if Boomer was flinging the ball around now,
that's right,
he'd be a 10-time Pro Bowler. Right. And he'd tell you he was a 10-time Pro Bowler. All right, so I want to give you first crack. Give me 2 players right now that they've already played, so it's not Trevor Lawrence or any of those guys.
Yep.
That has already played enough where you see enough evidence. And maybe the other end of the equation is that maybe the right now anointed GOAT of that franchise is vulnerable. Yeah. All right. Where you see the player that you're about to identify eventually health. Yep. We always got to weed that in. If the player's healthy, there's no doubt in your mind that player will take the top spot. Give me 2.
I think 1 is very easy for me. And he's playing. He's been not won an MVP, but he's been fantastic, and he's already won a Super Bowl, been to another, and that's Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks. Like he's already there. I go back and look at the other.
That's too easy. He's already 10 years into his career.
Of course it is, but it is what it is. You just look at the quarterbacks that were preceded him. It was Hasselbeck and. Meyer was there.
Dave Craig was pretty good back. Dave Craig was pretty good back in the day.
He was, but he never won a Super Bowl.
He wasn't Russell Wilson.
Exactly. He wasn't Russell Wilson. So that's
you say Hasselbeck?
Hasselbeck,
okay.
Yeah. That was the easy one. The other one, and this is really because of the competition.
Yeah.
And I'm taking liberties here because the Baltimore Ravens only have a very short history because they obviously weren't always the Baltimore Ravens, is Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's already won an MVP.
Yeah.
He's changed the way that the game is played from that position, from the quarterback position. It's not necessarily about, I got to put up 4,000 yards passing. I mean, in fact, you can look at the stats right now if you're watching on TV. 27-57 was that's half of what some of the top guys do. But it's the dynamic nature of his game. He rushed for 1,000 yards, the second time he's done that in NFL history. 7 touchdowns on the ground. He's just a different kind of threat. And so while we won't look at his statistics like we will Josh Allen and say, well, statistically he was XYZ better than Joe Flacco, which is, by the way, who his competition is.
True.
Even though Joe Flacco's got a Super Bowl, so Lamar's got to probably win a Super Bowl, but even if he doesn't, I think if he keeps taking his team and rising, he's going to go down as the GOAT in Baltimore Ravens franchise history because he's so unique. He's got an MVP, and the way the game is changing, he might win another one at some point. So
that's a good call. I had Lamar written down. I didn't know exactly where you were going. I had a few guys written down. All right, so you've got Lamar and you've got Russell Wilson. I'm going to go much more projection-oriented here.
Go ahead.
But I think they're very unique, and I think that it's semantics because I acknowledge while the stats have obviously changed, well, certainly for one.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you Herbert. Now, hear me out.
Ooh,
I know,
dude,
but I'm going to tell you why.
Dude, you're
I'm going right for it.
You're just elbowing Phillip Rivers out the way.
I'm going right for it. No football
Dan
foreplay.
Fouts, man. But, Dan Fouts is different.
Dan Fouts is a Hall of Famer.
Of course
I don't like the tone that you brought the tone. Well, Dan Fouts is you kind of a little shade with that inflection there.
BT, just
I understand
as well
that, but Dan Fouts is a Hall of Famer.
What Dan Fouts' statistics
I know. I brought it up with all the interceptions when he first started coming out of Oregon. He was rough. He was not very good.
Such a great dude.
Yep.
But yeah, he did lead the league in passing 4 years in a row.
Oh, those early Charger teams were, Kellen Winslow, they were unstoppable.
In the 70s, he was throwing for 4,000 yards. In 80, he threw for 4,700 yards.
Now, Dan Fouts, Dan Fouts can fling it.
He just threw a lot of interceptions as well.
He did, as a lot of quarterbacks did back then.
Yeah.
Because you were just taking more shots.
Right.
There was no little dumps to the running back. It was all tough throws.
Yeah, running backs did not have receptions.
No. The reason I say Herbert, right? And maybe I'm purposely trying to challenge myself rather than just saying Russell Wilson, who's already there.
Yeah.
I acknowledge, even though Herbert, if he stays healthy, will surpass or could surpass Fouts and Rivers in terms of stats.
That's a lot.
Definitely Fouts.
That's two hurdles to jump.
Rivers is, but that's not the main reason.
Go ahead.
What did neither of those players do?
Win a championship.
They never won.
Yeah.
So if Herbert, and I look at Herbert, and I know it's a small sample, and, I'm not trying to be the hot take artist, but Justin Herbert looks like one of the best young quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And it's surprising. We started 15 games last year.
He wasn't even ready. They told him after the kickoff, hey, grab your helmet. You're playing. Didn't even know he was going to play.
Yeah, you're right.
Justin Herbert is brilliant, number one. He's a great student, honor student.
Yeah, that's right. That's why he stayed an extra year in school.
Correct.
Which made some people question. Not a lot. Some people question, does this guy even love football?
Yeah, that was an unfair draft analysis kind of used against him, probably hoping he would fall. You know how people do that. But there's nothing he can't do. Like Phillip Rivers was not a good athlete.
Yeah.
Couldn't move.
Yeah. And had an odd delivery, but it didn't.
But I don't even care about that. If you throw 95 miles per hour, it doesn't matter how it gets there.
That's true.
Funky, herky, jerky, weird. I get
bring that up because as he got older, it created some problems.
Definitely a disservice as he aged for sure. I'm talking Phillip Rivers in his prime, but I got you. At the end, the ball started to dive, and he had to get his body into. It was a different. I agree with that. So Herbert to me has a chance to elevate the Bolts to a place they've never been. They've been to the Super Bowl to win it, to be a champion. All right, so Herbert's number one. And Kyler Murray's number two. I mean, you look at the history. Now, this is another interesting one, too, because Carson Palmer was pretty good.
Yeah,
and Kurt Warner took him to a Super Bowl.
That's right.
And almost won. I'm still not sure if Santonio Holmes caught that ball.
Timeout. Santonio Holmes' left foot never touched the ground.
I don't think he caught the ball.
His left foot touched the back of his right foot.
So it's not a touchdown.
Of course it's not a touchdown.
Because he didn't dot it. Boom, boom.
He didn't dot it.
That was my initial gut.
It's beautiful, but when you go look at it, his right foot is down, the left foot touches the back of his right foot.
That's it. So it's hanging on the back of his heel,
yes.
Which didn't allow him to get down.
That's right.
Well, I never thought it was a catch, but I don't know that I ever looked at it that way.
Regardless, give it to him because it was such an unbelievable pitch and catch.
A great throw, too.
Yeah.
Oh, you say the pitch aspect for sure. So I'm going to go Herbert with the Chargers. Now they're in L.A. You'll get some more free agents. You have a little more sizzle, blah, blah, blah. They've got a good defense. Now, I'm also projecting. What's that?
I'm just thinking of Kyler Murray.
Well, I mean, what's wrong with Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray, got to keep in mind.
Yeah.
There's two ways to dissect Kyler Murray's season a year ago, which was his second in the NFL. Number one, there was the season before he got hurt.
Yeah.
When he was on the periphery of every MVP conversation.
That's right.
Then there was the conversation, and it was accurate, when he got hurt, when he hurt his shoulder, got jacked up. And he said, I got to protect myself. I understand that. I'm sure coaches told him to do that as well. Stopped running around the pocket, and that's his best asset.
Yep.
Off-platform plays and running. And now that he's healthy again, I think we're going to see a guy who's going to flirt with the MVP.